Hello and welcome to the 8th Impact Youth devotional video. Today we're covering a pretty big chunk of scripture. It's going to be Genesis chapter 25 through Genesis chapter 28. Genesis chapter 25 begins with the death of Abraham. It talks about all of Ishmael's sons. Again, remember that's where the lineage of the Muslims around the world come from. And then we get the story of Jacob and Esau, who are the sons of Isaac. And the very first story we get of Jacob and Esau is that Esau despises his birthright. He's the oldest. He deserves everything. The inheritance should be passed to him. But for a bowl of soup, he trades it. Next, we get a story of Isaac and King Abimelech, the same King Abimelech who we just talked about last time, where Abraham went into the land, was afraid, and said, "She's my sister." Now Isaac is experiencing a drought, and it specifically says it's a drought just like the one that his father experienced. So he goes into the same land of the Philistines in Gerar, where the same king Abimelech is, and he tells the exact same lie that Abraham told. My wife is my sister. One of the things we see here is often the sins that we experience in our own lives are the sins that we saw our parents do. The things that our parents did that weren't right become the things in our lives that we continue to do that we know we shouldn't do. And that's, some people might call that a generational curse, but really what it is we learn from our parents both their good and their bad behaviors. And we're seeing Abraham's bad behaviors being passed on to his son Isaac in chapter 26. In chapter 27, we get the famous story of not only has Esau given up his birthright to his brother, but now the blessing that Isaac is going to put his hands and pray a blessing on his oldest son before he dies. Somehow you read about Jacob stealing that blessing as well. And then understand his brother gets really mad about it, so he gets out of there and he takes off, and his dad prays a blessing on him and says, "Now go find yourself a wife, son." What you see also here is that actually Isaac's wife Rebecca is just as much of a schemester as is the son Jacob in trying to manipulate Isaac, because she loves one son more than the other son. Maybe you've experienced that. That's a terrible thing when a parent shows favoritism from one to the other. And this is what causes this major split between Jacob and Esau. And then in chapter 28, what's important for you to see there as it ends is that God appears to Jacob in a dream and essentially confirms the entire promise that he'd made to Isaac and to Abraham many years earlier. He talks about how your people will be as many as the sands on the ground right in front of you. And I love that this place he then names Bethel, because that is where I went to seminary. Bethel is one of these places where God appears to Jacob, and so it's a really special place in the Bible. That's everything you need to know for your reading. I hope that you just keep pushing through this. I know it's a big chunk, but you are over halfway through the book of Genesis now. Congratulations.